If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instincts, stop listening to others, and own your decisions. People will always tell you what to do, who's being and how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
That's right, folks. Mature audiences only. Welcome back to another show. We have so much to get through, guys. So much. You know, I didn't go political on Monday. It's just too easy. Too much stuff out there to talk about. So many other people talking about it as well. It's we're just flooded with it. So Monday we did we talked about the situation in North Carolina. The situation down in Florida is really bad today. So, you know, if you can't help out any way you can. The people in Florida going through what they're going through right now. And, you know, our best wishes are with them all. Today, we're going to talk about, we're going to go political today, a good bit of the show. Some of the show will do some other good stuff. And as people are filing in, let me kind of make sure that I mention this. I actually fail to mention this a lot, and I don't know why. I just do. Guys, like, subscribe, share the show, and of course, hit the notification bells, and please leave comments if you have them. Really helps out the algorithm, and the algorithm is meaningful. I have been promoting the living crap out of this show. I have been on panels all over the place. I have been running promotions out of, you know, that cost me money. and anything to build the channel to where I want it to be. So, Sarah, good to see you in the chat there. I will make it a good ride for you. I think you're going to really enjoy this show today. If not, let me know, and we'll try and do better next time. Okay, guys. So on the note of making it a better show, please, if you can, donate. If you can't donate, that's totally cool. Don't ever send me the last dollar you have. Matter of fact, don't send anybody the last dollar you have because you need it. However, if you can afford to throw a few bucks this way, it'd be great. It helps make the show work and be worthwhile at the same time. Michelle, cleaning and lurking, good job. Cleaning is a great activity, and I need to do some of that myself. Actually, I have my son doing that right now. He's cleaning. He's doing some cleaning work in the garage. I bought 4 pairs of $6,000 sneakers. I am unreasonable too, or I'm trying to be more reasonable. Okay, not really sure. I don't actually buy really expensive. I don't really buy expensive shoes. My wife does, but she's a girl, so that's what happens. I'm working on a promotional thing for the show where, to promote the channel and give back something to you guys, but also stimulate some of the money flowing into the coffers, which hasn't, it's been okay. You guys done well, but I need to up it. I don't have any Air Force Ones, bro. Actually, I don't buy Nikes anymore. I don't think I have a single pair of Nikes right now. I like, there's a brand of shoes there called Innovate, INOV, and the number 8. They're really good. And I also like, what are those things? I can't think of the name of them off the top of my head, but they're like a trail running shoe. So I like those a lot. Those are really good. I don't wear Air Force Ones, bro. I never wore Jordans. Never wore them. Never wore the Jordans. Couldn't do it. Let's see who's it seems like we got some of the likely suspects here. We got some people showing up, coming in. Mr. Boulay, the Department of Numismatics, is in the house. He is our top mod, and good to see him in the house. Seriously, Shelby is a mod. He is in the house as well. Flan Life is here representing the Canadians. Good job, sir. Roland Thorne, close to me. We've actually met Roland Thorne in real life. He's a good dude. We've got, let's see, who else is here? We got some guys here. Fredo Fonzarelli is here. Mike Dornan. Not really, I don't know if I've seen you in here, but if I just have missed you, I apologize. Ghost 1978, good to see you, sir. Always happy. Midnight Newton, anybody boycotting High Life because of Kamala? I don't know. But we're going to get into some of that stuff. Sarah's listening in. Michelle is in the house. RGH is in the house. And Kevin is in the house. Joe Mobley's show is in the house. And Joe, if you want to come up after the monologue, that would be great. I know that I know you have been under the weather and you're probably chomping at the bit to get back in front of that camera. So let's make it happen, Cap'n. And but let me get through this monologue first, guys. And Joe's going to have a lot of feedback on what I'm about to talk about. I'm trying to give it time for the chat to fill up because I really do actually want I don't want to have people wondering what I'm talking about. So I'm hoping the chat will just fill right up. If not, that's okay too. My token black friend. Yep. Chino Prime, welcome, sir. Welcome. I've seen you in here before. You're a good dude. And Mikey Ball. What's up, Mikey Balls? Mikey Ball has a great channel, guys. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Mods, if you can find it, spam it in the chat. Mikey is doing good stuff. He actually lost a leg in a motorcycle accident, and still has a great attitude about life. So there's something about that that is admirable in and of itself. So that is awesome. And yeah, the it's all good stuff. Joe Mobley, hopefully we will be off by 3 o'clock, but if we're still going, we'll get you up here, man. All right, guys. So we got to go political a little bit today, and we got to talk about some of the things that are going on that I think most people will just kind of, their eyes will glass over when they see it or read about it. And these are important things. First of all, yes, obviously, Kamala's performance and all of the debates, well, not debates, but all of the interviews that she's had have been, I mean, at best lackluster, but more realistically, they're just terrible. Just terrible. You can't pin her down on a position. She reverses position. She says one thing that is obviously a blatant lie, and then she'll back that lie up again and again and again, and then reverse and say, well, I never really said that. What I actually said was this. And there's never a more pure example of a pure political animal, I believe, than Kamala Harris. It's completely political. There's nothing real or true about her. It is completely made up. Everything about her is made up. She and really, really terrible. Really a terrible person, but we're not going to get into that. The first thing I really want to touch on is what is this could be bait, but I don't know that it is. So AOC, we all know how I feel about AOC. I think the barmaid is completely insane, but occasionally AOC is useful. And she is throwing a royal fit about the idea that if Kamala gets in office, the billionaires that are backing her, then that's Cuban and some others, mostly tech companies in California, are going to remove. Let me try to remember her name. It's Lisa. What is her? Or Lena Khan. Is it Lena Khan? Is that her? Is that how you say her name? I think it's Lena Khan. And Lena Khan, where is that? Yeah. So Lena Khan is president, or currently she's head of the FTC. Yeah, barmaid should be seen and not heard. That's right. Absolutely. So what you guys need to know about this is, while she is left leaning, Lena Khan is an economist of the first order, and she's very antitrust. So all of you guys that think that Amazon's too big, that the banks are getting out of control, that corporate America is ruining your life, you all need to support Lena Khan, because Lena Khan's the one that has called out Amazon for being too big, and that our current antitrust laws do not address or control or even are able to even regulate companies like Amazon, and that use a platform that rather than a brick and mortar business and all of that. So Khan, despite being, and I don't know if she's Democrat, she could be progressive. She could be conservative, progressive-ish. I don't really know her political affiliation, but what I do know is the Democrats kind of like her and the Republicans kind of like her, and she was put in the FTC on a bipartisan effort. And while she's been there, she's done a reasonably good job. But, and this is weird, that the barmaid is threatening all out war or brawl, all out brawl, if Kamala tries to remove Lena Khan. Now, an interesting thing is that Lena Khan is technically no longer head of the FTC. Her term is up. However, because we're in an election year, her term extends until there's a new president. And more than likely, Trump will leave her in place. He's a businessman. He understands that despite her political leanings, she does the right thing most of the time. And so I think Trump would leave Lena Khan in place or replace Lena Khan with someone that is pretty much just like Lena Khan, but maybe a little more conservative leaning. This is important because all of the economic problems that you think you guys have, that the entire world thinks they have right now, it all starts with how the FTC decides to allow large companies to run and moderate themselves. And most of the time, I'm pretty anti FTC. I think that they get in the way, and I think that they're too powerful, and I think that they have issues. However, in defense of Lena Khan, I will grant her that what she's done to try and control Amazon, try and restore the idea of a balanced and fair market, which I don't agree with. I understand it. I don't agree with it. I believe capitalism is capitalism, and if you do it better and put all of your competitors out of business, then you've done something that's something worthwhile, and I don't have a problem with it. However, it is also true at the same time that there do need to be some regulations on business. And to Khan's credit, the regulations that she puts in place are well thought out, and generically they help a wide variety of people rather than hurt a single company just for the sake of pushing it down. The rising tide raises all ships, and that's kind of her thought process. She is seriously though anti monopoly. Anyway. I find it interesting that AOC is going so hard against Kamala on this because Kamala has never really come out on any one position. I think AOC's is very concerned because her backers are Cuban and these other billionaires. And if we all saw how indebted Obama was to the billionaires that got him elected, right? We all remember this. This is not something that we're theorizing about. We saw that happen in real time. And so AOC, again, I dislike AOC. I think that she's a liar, and I think that she's a fruitcake, and I think that she basically should have stayed in the bar. And again, Roland is right. Barmaids should be seen and not heard. However, in this case, AOC is onto something. I do believe that the only reason that Mark Cuban is supporting Kamala is for the favors, for the things that she can do for him once she is president. If she is president, then all bets are off for Cuban's business, and he knows it. I know it, and now you know it. And you should think about this when you're talking to people about Kamala. It's not just that Kamala is a bad person. Kamala is corrupt at the base level, and because of that, I don't have to theorize that Mark Cuban is buying Kamala. I know that that Kamala is being bought by Mark Cuban because she has a history of being literally bought and paid for, right? Willie Brown, for example, that's the way, it's just how that is. So we have to, once we understand that, once you understand this, it makes everything a lot easier. And also, I no longer have to give arguments of, well, Kamala's a bad politician because she's a Democrat or whatever. We can all now point to, look, Mark Cuban and these other billionaires are supporting her. Why is that? Why would, especially when she's talking about an unrealized investment tax, why would they support her? Well, obviously, it's for what she can do for them when she is in office. And Lena Khan is the person that stands in the way of people like Mark Cuban being able to flaunt antitrust laws. And if you don't think that happens, you really need to do some reading. Antitrust laws are flaunted all the time, and they're given exceptions and all kinds of other things that most people never notice. It's just normal. It's just them doing business every day, and it's not put in the Wall Street Journal. So why would you notice it? But it happens every day, and you need to think about it. And when you read about this merger or that merger, you got to think, why did that happen? Because these things are important. So we have the Lena Khan, AOC, Kamala thing. I think Kamala's making a big mistake here. I think AOC carries a lot of weight, and I think that without AOC's support, Kamala gets more hamstring than she normally would be. And I think that while I don't think that it would keep people from voting for Kamala, it might keep some undecided people who think AOC is cool and hip and modern. It may keep those people that are on the fence from tipping over the fence to Kamala's side. And I think it's important to talk about, and it's important for you guys to understand this information because you probably haven't even heard anything about it. Why would you? Right? No, I don't think they're being super public about AOC saying that, if Kamala eliminates Lena Khan's position or replaces Lena Khan, it'll be all out war. Now, the people that Mark Cuban want in the position at the FTC, that person is not antitrust. That person is big union, totally okay with massive corporations leading everything, and is like really bad for business, really, really bad. So let's move on now. I've talked enough about that. I hope you guys got that. If you guys got any questions, please post them in the chat. You may have to super chat them so I can read them because I'm looking at my screen here and not the screen here that has the chats on it, but I will do the best I can. So moving on from that, Kamala just keeps taking the L's. The Democrats keep taking the L's. It's really bad. And in the but wait, there's more category. Georgia, and this is breaking news. I'm not even sure that there's actual articles out on it. So there may be some slight errors in this, but this has been initially fact checked and is accurate as of when I'm talking to you. Things could change. It is a dynamic situation. In Georgia, a judge has completely dismissed the lawsuit filed by Democrats to basically overthrow the members of the state election board, or overrule them, but kind of overthrowing them, that had implemented really critical and crucial election integrity measures, right? Georgia, as we know, was hotly contested last time. There was a lot of people out there who said that, well, Georgia, you didn't get it right. You don't know what you're doing. Trump basically said that there's a lot of fraudulent voting in Georgia. And Georgia, the governor, who was Republican during the last cycle, if you remember, the Republican governor said, hey, we did it right. Trump's wrong. We know what we're doing. Our election is golden. But since all of that, in the last 4 years, we have found out that there were some questionable things, and regardless of, I mean, obviously nothing can be done about it now, but regardless of what you personally believe, the reality is that they have found questionable things. And Georgia had a mayoral race where their machines were manipulated so that there were three people on the ballot, and one of those people actually only got got a very small portion of the votes, and the other two got a fairly equal portion of the votes compared to themselves. When they looked at where the ballots, the district that this woman, one of the pardon me, the candidate in question was a female. That candidate was had actually, her and her husband had actually voted in their district, but yet in their district it showed that they had 0 votes, none, 0. And so she called into question, obviously she protested the results. They did an investigation, and it was found, shockingly, that the machines had been tampered with, and that basically in specific districts, a vote for her was split between the other two candidates. Okay. And so they proved that out. And so there were, obviously that's an election integrity. They had to rerun the race or redo the voting or something like, I forget how they tabulated it. But they were able to track that down. Now, I personally believe that this was an attempt by the Democrats to prove out that they could cheat in the presidential election. When they got caught, they basically said, no, okay, we can't cheat. And now they're going to the other tactics that we've talked about to prevent Trump being elected. And but anyway, so the Democrats filed a lawsuit in Georgia to prevent the state election board, the people whose job it is to do this, from implementing election integrity measures. Right, that basically means things that make the election less doubtful, right? More solid. And the case was dismissed because the judge said that the Democrats who opposed these measures had no right to even file the case. Like, they had no standing. They had no right to bring the case. Basically, the Democrats filed complaints against the state election board members to the governor, Brian Kemp, claiming that he was compelled to, 1, conduct a hearing on their allegations, and 2, remove physically, or actually remove the members that they claimed violated ethics rules. Now, obviously, they didn't violate ethics rules, but that's what the Democrats were saying. Kemp refused, so they sued Kemp in Fulton County, which is the county that they typically win in. If the Democrats sue somebody in Georgia, it's almost always in Fulton County. And despite getting a left-leaning judge, they lost. And they lost because the judge literally said, you can't even bring this case because you don't have standing. There's no standing. You have not been harmed and all of that. The judge's name was Ural. That's URAL, like the motorcycle company, Glanville. And he ruled that a private citizen cannot just designate something as a formal charge. It basically means that if there's no law, you can't make up a law and claim that somebody violated it, right? Like, I can't claim that if you make a flavor of soda I don't like, that it's illegal to make that flavor of soda. That's basically what they did. And that that formal charges can only be derived from an actual investigation. Obviously, there was no investigation. It was just the Democrats doing what Democrats do, and that's filing charges. It's just more and more lawfare, and they just can't get over it. And basically, what it looks like now, again, this is an evolving story. There's more coming out every hour on it. It seems like that the Democrats are panicking down in Georgia because the election board is closing up all of the loopholes that they found over the last 3 years since the last election. And they've made a list, right? And again, the Democrats have tried to cheat in the last couple the midterm elections and a couple of off-year elections, and they got caught. Okay, this is important. They got caught, and so the election board now knows how to plug these loopholes, and they are doing it. And this is a big thing for Georgia, especially Fulton County. It's huge. Okay. There's no now obviously this doesn't guarantee that somebody that that people couldn't cheat or won't cheat, or there won't be attempts made to put in fraudulent votes or whatever. However, it does help. It does help to secure that. And the two states that I know the Democrats were trying to cheat in were Georgia and Vermont. They got caught both times and very easily trying to influence the elections. The first one was the election machines. I think the second one in Vermont was also voting machines, but also they attempted to post fraudulent or introduce fraudulent ballots, and they were caught in Vermont. Now, both of these states are obviously Democrat strongholds, and and they were able to, and because they were able to be caught in those two places, I have some hope. Don't they have a corrupt mayor, Tiffany? Yes, I believe. Well, I think that has the mayor been removed? I thought that there was an effort to remove the mayor that was getting close to being successful. I could be wrong about that, but yes, they have a corrupt mayor. But the problem is that the mayor's powers when it comes to the election commission are very limited. Matter of fact, I don't think she has any powers when it comes to the election commission, and so that's a problem. So for her, and so that's my second line item, guys. We've really, we're really burning through the topics today. It's really good. And overall, if you look at the performance the Democrats have been posting, right? If you look at Kamala's performance in the 60 Minutes interview, that was terrible. If you look at Kamala's if you look at how Kamala has been time and time again caught saying one thing to one group of people, then turning around and saying another thing to another group of people, and all of the inconsistencies and all of the things, it's very difficult to understand how anyone that isn't just a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat that's going to vote Democrat anyway, it's very difficult to understand how anybody can be behind her. She's been called on the carpet about what her policies are, and they're wishy-washy, and she doesn't sound like she has any policies. When she does talk about policies, the policies she talks about are her policies, Joe Biden's policies, but she doesn't take ownership of any of it, and instead she lays the blame on everyone else's feet. And one of the interesting things in the 60 Minutes interview, I don't know how many of you guys heard this. She, obviously she was specifically in charge of immigration, and there's some other things, and we'll get into it in just a minute, that the VP is supposed to do that she just didn't seem to do. And when she was asked in the 60 Minutes interview about immigration, she gave her usual BS answer. And one of the guys, came back and was like, hey, illegal immigration has actually quadrupled since you were in office. And that, I think, hurt her. I think that cut her deep. I mean, I think it cut her so deep. Like, I don't know how she came back from that one, right? You think the Kremlin is more important than American citizens? So that's an interesting question. That actually kind of leads me right into my next little subject here. Hang on. Let's see. You got caught lying on the national stage about sending the Kremlin COVID machines when all of our countrymen were dying. What COVID machines? You mean the respirators that we didn't need? What do you got, Smoky Guru? Let me do a quick search. Stand by. COVID testing machines. I'm not really sure what we're talking about. Hang on, let me look that up. Did we have COVID testing machines before Trump got out of office? I'm not sure we did. Bob Woodward's new book says Trump secretly sent COVID tests to Putin during shortage. Kremlin says Trump sent COVID test to Russia, denies report of Putin calls. ABC News. Yeah, I'm going to buy what they say. Let's see what we got here. Oh, well, what the fuck, dumbass? This is bullshit. The spokesperson for the Kremlin said there was a shortage of various medical equipment. And of course, in the beginning, all countries tried to swap some aid. We sent ventilators, artificial lung ventilators, to the States, adding that the Americans sent us several samples of those testing systems, as at the time there were very few of them. Many countries did this. Dude, come on, man. Come on. Seriously? Come on, man. Yeah. I literally took me 2 seconds to debunk this. The book claims that Trump secretly sent Abbott COVID-19 testing devices to Putin when the machines were in short supply. And NBC News has not been able to independently verify this. We sent shit to Italy too. But what did he lie about? When did he lie about it? I don't see where he lied about it. Well, I don't give a shit who you like. If they sent us respirators and we sent them COVID testing equipment, that's fair. We literally probably maybe, so according to the science, we needed respirators way more than we needed COVID testing machines. We didn't have COVID testing machines that early on, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, Smokey Guru. This is bullshit. Give me something I can use. Yeah, every idiot with a grudge wrote a tell-all book about Trump. Well, let's talk about Russia though for a minute. Let's talk about Russia. So I don't care about Russia at all. I'm not afraid of Russia. I think Russia's a nothing burger. I think that they live in our minds free, or they live in our heads rent free because of the Cold War. And I could give a fuck less about them. I think that literally they are our bitch anytime we want them to be our bitch. I honestly don't give a shit one way or the other. And they know it. we should know it. We don't, because for some reason we live in fear of Russia. You think Russia's giving weapons to Iran so Israel would disagree? Who cares? We're giving weapons to Israel. They're also buying them from Korea. We're giving them, I mean, what the fuck? Why do we care? What is it that we have this, like, oh, Russia's giving them arms, so we give everybody arms. We'll give anybody arms. We give literally Germany. We gave Poland arms. We sold Poland a lot of really good shit too, by the way. Like, Poland's been a great customer. You know, they're awesome. You know, I mean, to be honest with you, if Russia would pay our rates, I wouldn't mind selling them some of our shit. Why wouldn't we? You know, I mean, old stuff. And we're not giving them new stuff. We don't sell anybody new stuff. Nobody gets the new good shit. But, you know, why not? See, the way it works is we sell our old shit to other countries who have jack shit. Then we take that money, in theory, most of it goes into politicians' pockets, which I wish we could do something about that. But most of that money goes, or a good chunk of that money goes back into our development program so we can have the cool new hot shit. You know, that's how we afford, you know, that's one of the ways that we're able to afford a bunch of shit. We literally still have bombs from World War II that we should be selling to the world. We just don't bother. And we do it all the time. We sell South Africa arms. We sell basically anybody that can write a check. Except maybe North Korea. We don't like North Korea, and they're batshit crazy anyway. But you guys are, I mean, this is weird. This is a weird conversation to have. But pardon me, at the time, we were not at war with Russia, and we still aren't. Ukraine wasn't at war with Russia, and they weren't looking like they were going to be. We were the closest to world peace we had ever been. So why wouldn't we give them COVID tests to help them develop their own? Why wouldn't we do that? That seems like a win-win for everybody, right? Give Canada arms. Yeah, actually, Canada buys a lot of our shit. They do. Yeah, Russia. Yeah, you know what? Steve Easy is right. Russia is the distraction that politicians use to keep us from thinking about China and all the money they've been making from them. Actually, I disagree with that part of it, but they're the distraction. So politicians keep us spun up about Russia, and so that they can continuously have a massive military budget. All they really need to do to get me to sign off on a bigger defense budget is say, hey, we want cool new shit. No, I said we can buy new shit, Boulay, not chicks. I understand. Well, you shouldn't be pro-Ukraine. Why are you backing a fucking dictator that's killed half his damn people, man? What's wrong with you? You should not be pro-Ukraine, Smokey Guru. You got to stop reading mainstream media, man. You got to get away from that shit. Your CF-18s are being we love to sell F-35s. I think we've already got the F-35s replacement being built. We need to sell F-30. We literally, I think we sold F-35s to Japan. We sold them to a bunch of places. Ukraine's not helping Israel. They're not helping any. They can't. How is Ukraine helping Israel when they can't even help themselves? What? If they are helping them, they're helping them with our money, because Ukraine's gotten. You know how much money Ukraine's gotten from us? Yeah, you cannot. Smokey Guru, you cannot in good faith argue anything for Ukraine. You just can't. Zelensky is worse than Putin because Zelensky, at least Putin was elected in a actual election. So, you know, they've sent weapons, and the weapons that they didn't, there are weapons. There are weapons. All there are is this is this is dumb. Russia's using Iranian drones. Well, that's bad for them. They should be using their own drones. They're probably better quality. I don't know about Iranian. I don't think you're this stupid, Smoky Guru. Come up and debate. Come up and talk about this. This is great. Ukraine's received a lot of money from the entire world, and for what? For what? They picked a fight, they got the fight, and then they and then when they got and then they got a shit ton of money from us. Yeah, come on up. Come on up. I don't mind. We'll talk about it. Yeah, you look, it doesn't matter if Ukraine has a chance or not. I don't want to spend our tax dollars helping a puppet dictator. Okay? That's what Zelensky is a puppet dictator. He owns a mansion in Hawaii. So when all right, so listen, Guru, let me I don't care what they've got in our lifetimes, Smoky Guru. I'm talking about right now, and that's actually not true. That's not true. Since 1946, Israel has gotten $300 and something billion from the U.S. In 3 years alone, Ukraine has gotten $300 billion plus. They've gotten $157 billion in cash in the last 3 years. Now, that's discounting everything else we gave them in the past, but they've gotten $157 billion in cash and $100 and something billion in military gear that we don't do. You don't want to spend letting Russia can't steal countries. No, we haven't. No. We have given, I debated this the other night and they lost too. Since 1946, we've given $320 billion to Israel. Total. Since total, $300 billion, 321, something like that. In 3 years, we've given Ukraine, and actually really 2.5 years, we've given $300 billion to Ukraine. I don't care, Smoky Guru. Why do I care about Georgia? Why do I care about this? Why do I care about this? Why? You can't give me a reason why I care. I don't care about Russia. I don't care about Georgia. I don't care about Estonia. I don't care about these countries. The only reason they exist is because we say they exist and we're not the world police. I don't care about Israel either. If they can't defend themselves, then let them be gone. I do actually right now. I kind of like them because they're doing our life. They're killing Muslim terrorists. Other than that, why do I care? Who exactly? Why should I support Ukraine? Ukraine is not our ally. Allies do shit for us. Ukraine takes from us. Ukraine is not our ally. They're not. I mean, you can keep saying that, but Ukraine is not our ally. Name one reason why we should be in bed with Ukraine. And you won't come up here. You won't debate this. You won't, because you'll lose. Because I have the facts, brother. The facts don't lie. I don't care about any other country. Period. I don't care about China. I mean, other than that, my wife has family there, but other than that, I don't really care. Yeah, right. Literally, Smoky Guru, come on up, bring your information. What? We can start exploring oil and increase our agricultural program. We don't need that. I'm an isolationist, brother. I don't believe we should do any of that. Let them fight it out. He's not going to come up. He's not gonna come up. We don't need it, Smokey Guru. We don't. We've been lied to by politicians for too long. We don't need it. We never did. It's just a money transfer out of this country. He won't come up because he's going to lose. Importing goods does not make our groceries cheaper. That's stupid. That's literally the opposite of reality. He's not going to do it. He just doesn't have any facts. It's just all rhetoric from political nonsense. We should not be in bed with Ukraine at all. That's what Trump knew. Trump knew that. Burisma Biden got us into this fucking war. Obviously, Smokey's a damn Democrat. You are not right, sir. You are wrong. Burisma Biden got us into this shitty ass war. He's transferred $300 billion. That's with a B, motherfucker, to Ukraine. And a lot of that money came right back to the States in payoffs to politicians. So you are absolutely wrong, sir. No, isolation is how we got strong, man. You don't understand. You don't understand that isolationism, when one of the reasons why Roosevelt didn't want to get us into the war is because he understood the law, which, for a Democrat was actually shockingly based. He understood what would happen when we got into the war. Yeah, I think Guru's all in his feels. We can force project as an isolation, brother. We don't have any allies. We don't have any allies. Nobody, name one country since the beginning of this country that's come to our aid. We go to everyone else's aid. We are the ally. It's us, always us. Nobody comes our fucking aid. Come up here and talk about it, man. Or don't. I own land all over the world, by the way, not just China, but, Yeah. Again, since the founding of the country, who's helped us? Since then. And you know what? We saved France's ass in World War II. We're even. That is true, Steve Easy. Don't stop bringing facts into this intellectual argument. Come on, man. I seriously want to debate this. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun because this is somebody that buys into the Democrat bullshit line of we need to be at peace with the world. We need the entire world to be our friend. We need the products the world has. We don't. No, there's no upside to helping Ukraine. There's no upside. You can't give me one single upside to helping Ukraine. Burisma Biden, the only upside to helping Ukraine is Biden got $10 billion in his bank account. That's the only upside. That's true. Cam the King is correct. However, in the first 200 years, or in the first more or less 100 years of the country, Cam, it was us settling that. Hey, Smokey Guru, let me drop. Dude, you got to come up here, man, because I can't keep dropping facts on you from this. You do not get cheaper goods importing it. You don't. We have oil here. The reason that Biden stopped fracking, the reason that Obama and Biden stopped fracking was because it was driving the price of oil down so low that OPEC was getting pissed. And that's it. That's the only reason. Yeah, I like gun. I like guns. Yeah, I don't know why. Look, Ukraine is really bad. This Ukraine deal is just bad for us. I mean, it's bad for us as a country. The only upside to it is so far only American mercenaries have gotten killed in it. That's bullshit, Smokey Guru. That's all right, Smokey Guru, where do you think we get most of our oil from right now? Do you think we get it from OPEC? And you're wrong about that. During fracking, we were able to produce oil so low that it literally was putting OPEC out of business. You don't understand the facts. Seriously, Smokey Guru, you got to re-educate yourself, man. You do not know the truth. That's why Obama stopped it. That's why they stopped it. We drove oil prices down so low because Obama doesn't want us to have cheap oil, Smokey Guru. That's why they killed the Keystone Pipeline, Smokey Guru. It's political because they want us dependent on other countries. Your state still does it? Which state are you in? Wyoming? But I guarantee you they scaled back. Because I know people that were doing the frack. I know people that were involved in fracking in Colorado, South Dakota, pardon me, Montana, Wyoming, and all through that area. And they all lost their jobs. Oh, Texas. Look, Texas is different, unfortunately. Texas doesn't do fracking, though. They do actual drilling. Yeah. Literally, Obama stopped fracking. And when he did, it drove the price of oil right back up. And that's why we have the electric car movement now. You don't understand. You really don't understand international politics at all. I mean, you understand what they tell you in the news, but you're wrong about it. Yeah, we do need the Keystone Pipeline. We do. We actually do need that. That's a real thing. So I had a friend of mine who actually went to Ukraine when they opened it up. And he went there as a mercenary. He got paid to go over there and fight. And he came back early because it was such a shit show. And he was like, I'm done. Yeah. I don't understand how people don't understand about fracking, guys. Fracking and shale oil and all of that. That was such a huge deal. I don't think people really understand how low it drove the price of oil. Oil was under $50 a barrel. And somebody correct me on this, but I believe it got down around $28 a barrel. And at $28 a barrel, OPEC and Venezuela were both like crazy out of sorts about it. The minute Obama got into office, I mean, literally day one, he said no fracking. Trump brought fracking back on a limited basis. And once again, fuel prices went down. But and the Keystone Pipeline would have driven them down further. The problem is that once you have cheap gas, nobody cares about electric cars. They don't care about green energy, and the entire narrative crashes through the floor. And you really have to understand politics on a broad spectrum and not just the bullshit that they feed you in the news. Right, yeah. And Canada's really fucked up. The central Canada, the cost of fuel there is massive, man. It's crazy. That's right. Fracking is bad because the lamestream media and environmental scam artists can't make money off of it. That's true. Electric cars are a scam. And the scam is because they eliminated fracking and they want us to import oil. I'll tell you something else, Smokey Guru, that you are unaware of and I know you're unaware of it because you only buy what the mainstream media feeds you. Right now, today, Japan, France, England, and even Venezuela are in our Gulf, in the Gulf of Mexico right now, and off the shores of California, drilling oil off of our coastline with oil leases from us, but our American companies cannot drill that oil legally. An American oil company cannot have an oil rig offshore in the Gulf, but yet Venezuela, Japan's a big one, Britain, and so on, they can all do that. They hire Americans to drill that oil. And that's good. That's the best part of it. But because they import it, they charge a higher price for it. It costs us money. American companies should be drilling that oil, not a Japanese company. Yeah, fracking did kill Iran's economy, and that's one of the reasons Obama said that they had to kill. Well, he didn't come out and say it, but that's one of the reasons Obama killed it, because Iran was so pissed that the oil prices were so low that their entire economy was crashing. Prices were low. People would always pick gas power because more flat. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Roland Thorne gets it. You guys have to understand global politics on an actual level. Yeah, Don Parker. Yeah, we lost a lot of good paying jobs here locally, and they had a bunch of sand mines around here. Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, fracking was great. It gave a lot of people a lot of jobs. It gave a lot, and entire little RV towns were erected around these fracking sites. There were, it was really a good thing for the country, and I just don't understand why our government fucks us so in the ass so hard every single day. Cam the King says he used to love fishing the rigs off of the Texas coast. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah. I mean, Smokey Guru, I really need you to understand how this really works, man. When you have the American government allowing foreign countries to drill oil in our Gulf, but yet they prevent American companies from drilling the same oil. It's illegal for an American company to drill the same area. You've got to see how fucked up that is. You've got to. It's the same thing with Ukraine. Ukraine is not a friend. They're not an ally. I don't give a shit about them. Who cares? I mean, they're and the only reason that we're involved with them is because of Burisma Biden. That's it. No other reason. Because the big man's got to get his 10 off the top. Right? You heard the videotape, right? Yeah. That's what I thought. That's true. Illegals have no rights. If you're here illegally, you're a criminal, and therefore, until you are given rights, you have no rights. Sorry. I'm sorry. The truth hurts sometimes. I apologize. It is what it is. Yeah, I only deal with facts. Yeah, I'm concerned that the only thing I will say about Israel is I like the fact that they're killing the same terrorists I would. We would. They're just doing it cheaper and more effectively than we do. I don't have a problem with them going after Hezbollah. As far as I'm concerned, they could conquer Iran and claim it as their own new country, and I'd be just fine with me. It's okay. So, you can't. I know that people a lot of times like the virtue signal and say, well, I'm anti small hat. The small hat's ruining the world, or the whatever. I honestly could give two shits about it. I only look at what the actual actionable items are, and the actual item is Israel is fighting my enemies, doing it on their own dime. Why would I not support that? Ukraine is using my money to fight their stupid ass war that they got themselves into, that Russia would have stayed out of. Putin literally said, I don't want to have war with you. Just don't restrict my access to this port, and don't charge my companies a ridiculous tax to go use that port. And you know what they did? They reneged on their word. Zelensky literally lied to a world leader and said that he would abide by the agreement, and he didn't, and then he got war. Yeah, fuck Zelensky. Zelensky's a fucking dictator. He literally, when this is all over, he's going to stand in front of the world court if they can find him. You're backing a dictator, Smokey Guru. Putin is not a dictator. He's legally elected. And I hate saying that because I don't like Putin. I think Putin's a bad guy. I think Putin is, he's not a good human. I don't like the guy. But at the end of the day, he's not a dictator. He's not. He was legally elected, 85% of the vote. 85%, bro. You know, and his country actually likes him. Zelensky literally has trucks right now, or vans, driving around abducting Ukrainian citizens off the street and gang pressing them into service as soldiers. And you support that, sir? Do you support that? You have to say yes or no on this one. Well, I'm pain of death. You gotta give me more context, man. Do you support Zelensky having literally vans with people in them driving around, gang pressing men into service, abducting them off the street, out of their front yards, and gang pressing them into military service? I've said a lot against the Kremlin. I'm not in jail. So, you know. No, Russia is not doing that, but Zelensky is, Smoky Guru. Steve Easy, he said Texas. It doesn't matter if it's war. You don't go around and gang pressing your own citizens into service, sir. You have just bought into the anti-Russian hate, which I don't disagree with. I don't like Russia either. However, I live in the world of reality. And the reality is right now, Russia was being honorable and doing what they said they were. Zelensky pushed for a fight, I believe at Obama's urging, and he got it. And now he's using our money to fight it. That's true. He might be from Austin. I just don't understand how you can be so ignorant of current events. If we were being invaded by a much larger country, you would push for our citizens to be drafted. Sure, they did draft them. These are people that aren't even draftable, and they're not drafting them. They're gang pressing them. Do you not understand what I'm saying? They're not going around saying, hey, sir, here's your draft card. You've been drafted. They're literally driving around and jumping these guys and throwing them into the back of a van. And the next thing they know, they're at a armed army compound, literally gang pressed into service. You're saying you're okay with that? You're saying you're okay with it? I can't believe this. Somebody find me that video of the Ukrainian vans rolling around, jacking dudes off the street. It's crazy, man. Like I've seen a couple of those videos. He's not going to come up, Mike. I would like him to, but he's not going to come up. But at any rate, Russia is bad, but they're not the bad ones in this fairy tale. Ukraine is bad. Russians aren't abducting Ukrainian children. Where do you come up with it? It's like you're in an alternative world, bro. Russia's the worst. I mean, they're not. I mean, I don't know that they're great. Are they? Show me. Pull it up, bro. Pull it up. Well, I'll do a Google search really quick. I don't like to when I'm live, but I had to do it twice now. So Wikipedia says this is happening. Oh, huh. Interesting. They've been doing it since 2014. Weird. They evacuated 500 orphans from Donetsk Oblast to Russian territory. Okay. We don't know if they were orphans or not. First reports, Russian invasion, March 2022, under the siege of Mariupol, the same month, Russian children rights commissioner stated a group of Ukrainian children had initially asserted Ukraine did, but since from love for Russia. Okay, interesting. Interesting. This is really a slanted article. Oh, now they lost me. Now they lost me. That's dumb. So if they're fleeing active war zone, I kind of go both ways on this one. I kind of go both ways on it. I don't think Russia's wrong for helping children that are fleeing a war zone, but I think that the don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that further. That's interesting. Yeah, that Cam the King. That's true. Good to see you back, Cam. I hadn't seen you in a while. Cam the King. That's true. Clinton gave an interview saying Russia was a perfect boogeyman for life to drum up dollars for big military industry. Yeah, I mean that's always been my. I'm not afraid of Russia at all. Russia's weak. They've been weak. Literally, they can't put up anything we can't knock down. Their technology is weak. It's garbage. So if you can buy war bonds, I mean, we won't go to war. We're fighting proxy wars, but we should definitely not be. We shouldn't be involved in Ukraine at all. We just shouldn't, and we're fools for being involved in Ukraine. I got to look into this child thing a little more, though. That may be a good story. Whoops, wrong button. Did I mute myself? No. Okay, good. All right. Okay, we kind of derailed the conversation there a little bit, but let me move on. I had one more thing before we went to callers, and it was my other notes. One more thing. Let's see. Well, I can't find it now. I have one more thing, and we got distracted arguing about Ukraine, which is always good for me. Um, so, Smoky Guru, do you identify as a leftist? I'm curious. I'm that look, no hate, man. I know a lot of leftists, but do you identify as left leaning, leftist? What do you, right leaning, libertarian? What do you identify as? I'm just curious. No hate in any direction. No worries, Smoky Guru. It's just now I had one more thing, um, but now I've lost. It'll come back to me. Don't worry about it. I'll remember. I have one more thing before we go to the caller section. But Warhawk centrist. Hmm, I'm not a centrist. I'm a constitutional conservative that believes in isolationism. That's what I believe in. I believe we are not the world police, and I believe that for the most part we get lied to a lot, and we're willing to believe all lies. Cam, he's not that bad. I mean, look, he could have said much worse. Um, and his position wasn't really like his position is is positions based on mainstream media articles, so it's easy to understand why he believes what he believes, right? Even though it's wrong, which is fine. Um, what was I? Where was I with the? It's unfortunate. Unfortunate. What did I have? Hang on, let me. All right, yeah, actually, so the Russian thing kind of got me thrown off. But here, guys, let me throw this out there. One of my problems with Kamala, which I have many, um, is that Biden was a train wreck when it came to foreign policy. Kamala will be worse. It's actually part of the vice president's job to travel to foreign countries and act as a representative of the office of the president of the United States and to talk to people like Putin, like Zelensky, like whoever the prime minister in England is right now. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And all of these other world leaders all over the country, like all over the world. And Kamala, I don't think, and somebody remind me because I couldn't find it in a simple Google search. I found a lot of trips that she had taken, but I couldn't find anything specifically for foreign policy. Can anyone tell me which countries she went to as an ambassador for foreign policy while vice president? I couldn't find any. So I'm curious, is anyone could help me with that? Because, and this is something I think that's really important. Trump is absolutely adept at foreign policy. Um, and I can't believe that Kamala has the ability to even discuss foreign policy. So can anyone, one way or the other, either you're for or against, I don't care. Has she demonstrated at any point in time the ability to or has gone out and worked in foreign policy as a vice president should. Anyone? Yeah, she was definitely out of the public light for a long time, Cam. That's why I'm asking. I don't remember ever hear of her going to outer Mongolia and meeting with the people there and getting us an oil treaty or some shit like that. I agree. She's literally done nothing of substance. I agree with you. I just want to make sure that I'm not wrong about this because everyone has different perceptions. And I'm just really, really curious if I'm wrong about this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's fine. But I just feel like that I don't want to be wrong. So I don't think she's been Iran. I don't think she's been Iraq. I don't think she's been to Saudi Arabia. I cannot think of a single foreign policy meeting that she's been in. Can anybody? Because we know that during Trump's term, he was the foreign policy master, right? Right? I mean, that guy, he was all about the foreign policy. If she didn't do it as VP, how can we expect her to do it as the president? I'm really interested to hear it. Has anybody got anything on that? Mikey Ball, is too early to drink, sir. I'm sorry. No drinking for you. Yeah. So I continue to maintain that the only thing she did a tour of Africa in March of 2023. Interesting. I wonder how effective that was. I don't know. Right. Okay. She went to Africa. Okay. That's true. That's true. Steve Easy, it's a solid point. Steve Easy, don't encourage him, man. Don't encourage him. All right, so guys, yeah, man, this is that's just my point. Look, I don't think she's fit to be president. I think Trump is proven to be an exceptional president. I don't know that we need to argue anymore about it. It is the time of the program where I take callers. So if you would like to come up you don't have to discuss the issues that I presented today. You can bring something up to me. You can pick a bone with me. You can tell me you don't like my hat. You can tell me you don't like my face. It's cool. But you're welcome to come up as a caller. I'm not currently set up, but I hope to be soon so that we could actually do actual telephone callers. But I don't know that. I don't know where we're going to get with that. But let's get some people coming up and let's have some good conversation, and we'll go with that. You have one, Mr. Boulay? It's a great hat. Everybody should get one. Get a request for some white snake? Yeah, there you go. I have one of the black ones. I don't know if I have it here. I think the black one's inside. Joe has the link. I think Joe said he couldn't come up until 3:00 his time, which actually it probably is pretty close to 3:00 his time. So maybe, Joe, if you're listening, finish early, bro. In the meantime, anybody else want to come up? Let's talk, man. Let's do it. So, yeah. I'm open to discussing or debating anything. In the meantime, while we're talking about this, Mike, you're in Alabama? I'm in Tennessee, bruv. We neighbors. As soon as I get done here, I've got a couple of things to do. Then I'm taking the boat out. I'm going to be on the lake fishing the rest of the day. Coleman, Alabama. Okay, I didn't know that. No, you didn't tell me that. You told somebody else that. How far is Coleman from Nashville? Shelby's in Georgia. 4 miles. How far is Coleman from Nashville? Mikey Ball, you can come up. I know you like to talk. 3.5 hours. That's a bit. Etowah, Tennessee. I've been there. Been there a couple of times. Been there a couple of times. Just ask Mr. Boulay or seriously Shelby for the link. They will slide it to you in Discord. I have a very specific way that I control guests, and I should explain that more often. Because I intend this show to be taken a little more seriously than the average panel show. And I like to control the guest to some degree. I don't just want any idiot to be able to click a link and then they're sitting in the back chat waiting forever because I won't bring them up. I try and control the access to the channel to some degree. I can't have call screeners, right? Because we're not calling in and there's no, I don't know. It's just harder to do. And so to prevent issues like some channels have had, this is the way I do it. It's worked out really good for me. And I see no reason to change it. And I don't think I'm going to change it. So, we'll wait for Mikey to get up here. We'll have some good conversation. Steve Easy, if you would like to come up, you're welcome to come. Anyone actually is welcome to come up as long as you're not going to do something stupid like porn bomb or do stupid things. If you're going to be a normal human being, and have a good conversation, because what I really want is I want good conversations. If we can have that, great. But if you're going to be an idiot, don't bother coming up because I'm just going to dump you off anyway. Don Parker, that's correct. If it works, why change it up? Yeah, I don't have no interest in really changing it, but I understand that other people do it differently than I do, and they can do that. What's up, Mikey Balls?
What's up, kind sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just having a great day, man.
And this has been a great discussion all the way around right here. And yeah, you didn't know that
I appreciate that fellow's position. I didn't even mind him telling me that I was a Chinese spy for owning property in China.
Right.
It's actually really difficult to own property in China. So
I'd imagine so.
Yeah. Well, like most countries, they don't like people outside their country owning property.
Damn straight. Absolutely. Americans are the same way.
Originally, Steve Easy, I am originally from Tennessee. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Long Beach and then in California.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. And then I moved here about 4 months ago.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it here.
So I've been to California many times. I actually lived in California right out of not too long after I was in college or out of college. I moved to Lake Tahoe with some friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it was more for their benefit than my benefit.
Totally.
I didn't really need to move, but my girlfriend and I were having trouble at the time. We had actually, we've been together for a little bit over a year, and we were engaged. And then she had like this traumatic life experience, and she was like, she didn't know if she wanted to get married. She dropped out of school. She ended up doing a bunch of weird stuff after that. Just changed her whole life around. And I just kind of needed a change, you know, like I was like, well, you know, I don't really want to be in the same town with this crazy bitch. I mean, this girl. And because you know what, I mean, look, we know what happens, right? Your car gets keyed, your cat dies.
You're not joking. Mysterious shit starts happening. Yes.
And, you know, it's, and so my buddy at the same time, he was moving out to Tahoe to kind of start new. And so I moved out there with him, and it, you know, obviously it was a bad situation. Him and his girlfriend, they were great to start out with, but then that went downhill. And
California.
I was working in Reno, and so I had to drive back and forth like every day.
Yep.
And it just wasn't ideal, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but did you enjoy it, or was like,
I mean, there were enjoyable parts of it, but for the most part, it was just a massive amount of stress. Like,
yeah,
always,
that's all it is.
Always, you know, if you're not stressing about, you know, money to pay your bills, you're stressing about whether your job's going to be there next week. Or, you know, some girl you met is going to, you know, go fucking psycho and accuse you of doing something. Like I remember, when I was there, this was like 98 probably. And so I was like 25, probably 26, something like that. And
in 98, I was 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was born in 73 or 71, pardon me. So, and so I remember I was doing, one of the big things that I really enjoyed, the hot tubs, man. Like I would just, it was so stressful all the time, man. I just really, really enjoyed just coming home at night, getting a hot tub, just relaxing, right? But you just couldn't have anyone around. In my opinion, I couldn't have anyone around very often, because I was always like, some girl's gonna like say something.
Yep.
And at that point in time, you know, we didn't have cell phone cameras, so it was literally your word against hers.
No kidding. Yep.
You know, like you
scary.
were like, yeah, you know, it was really, really scary. It was absolutely terrible.
And
terrifying.
Like for me, if I wasn't making $7,500 a month, that's just eating ramen. That's to survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I had to leave that hustle culture. There was no way to, right now, that is not the time to try to like build a family over there. I mean, it's get the hell out of there. I mean, I'm a California native, and I'm telling y'all, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tahoe was, you know, and of course I was going to Reno every day. So I had my fuel prices, you know, it cost me money to go everywhere. You know, I got pulled over a lot. You know, and it was just like, it was a really stressful 2.5 or 3 year period of my life. And so I went, you know, and it was really interesting because I actually had built kind of a side business, but things were starting to really kind of go my way. But it was just like always some hassle, man.
Yeah.
And I was, you know what, and Tahoe's really, it's a transient society anyway. Like the people that are here this week, they could be gone next week because they just decided, you know, that they're only there to go snowboarding or mountain biking or hiking or whatever. They're all, and it's such a recreational society.
Yes.
That they don't give a shit about their job. Their job is literally just to give them enough money to go play.
Yes. Yes. It is that nonstop.
Hiring people was horrible, man.
You have a terrible mindset in the city like that.
Yeah.
You just really do. You just do. You have a terrible mindset as a whole.
Yeah.
Not everybody, really obviously. I'm not going to lump sum everybody, but for the majority, man, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody here, it's a 180 from everything I ever knew. Like in California, we're on top of each other, right? I mean, housing tracks, you know how it is. And so I lived in a particular, my last house, I was there for like 2.5 years. I didn't know a single neighbor.
Right.
All of them were like, as soon as they'd get home, they would open the garage, get in there, close it, and you would never see them.
Yeah, no,
never,
you're right.
They would avoid, if you saw them outside, they would like put their blinders on their eyes. Like
if you say something, so my first experience in California was weird. Then I moved back to Tennessee. I worked for a while, and then I ended up, I lived in North Carolina for a while. I came back to California. I lived in Morgan Hill for about 3 or 4 months under a contract with a race team I was working with. And that was in like 2001. That was 2001, actually. In 2001, I worked under contract with a race team, and I lived in the race shop. And even with no money going out, it was still stupid expensive, man. It was still stupid. Like, I lived in the race shop. All I did was couldn't really cook, so I ate out a lot. But
you're just surviving.
Just surviving.
That's all you're doing. You're not getting better and better and collecting or nothing. You're just surviving.
Yeah. And so, and again, it's all NorCal. So I moved back to Tennessee, opened my own shop, did some stuff, and then ended up moving to Colorado in 2003.
Oh man, how was that?
So when I first moved to Colorado, it was really cool. It was like really cool.
Where'd you move to? The city?
Yeah, I was in Aurora, which is a suburb of Denver. Actually, initially I was in what's considered Highlands Ranch.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar. Mm-hmm.
And so I worked in Denver. Worked for a race shop there, a big race shop. And I told the guy, I'm like, within 5 years, when he hired me, he's like, what's your goal? And I'm like, I've been in the industry a long time, and I've traveled everywhere. I live, I just come out of, I'd been in a race shop in North Carolina for about a year. And then I had done mercenary work on my own based out of Tennessee for about another year.
Damn.
And I told him, I'm like, I really, my goal here is I want to work for you for about a year and a half, at most 5 years. And then I want to open my own race shop.
Wow.
And then I want to, I want to build up from there. Right. Like, I don't want to,
but you were honest. You weren't like, no, I want to be here for the rest of my life.
No, I was like, hey, the thing is that I know half of what I need to know, but I need to know the other side. I need to know the business side. I need to know the customer side. Right. I need to understand. There's some pieces that I need to understand that I don't have yet. And so I was there about two or 3 years. And I started there in late 2002, 2003, and I left there in 2005. And the only reason I left there was because I had actually done all I needed to do. And there was some growing dissatisfaction between what I did in the shop and what the owner of the shop, what his slant was. And I'm not going to get into all,
right.
But my portion of the shop was paying for a lot of the rest of the shop to operate. And he knew it, and I knew it, and everybody else knew it, but he didn't like it. It wasn't what he wanted to do. It wasn't what he wanted to be associated with.
You got too powerful.
He just didn't like the market. He didn't like the market, and he wanted me to do something else. But at that time, I didn't really want to go back out I'd been out on the road for years. I'd been traveling all over the country for a long time. And one of the reasons that I took the job to begin with is I wanted to stop being a mercenary and actually have a shop that I worked in and still kind of make the same money. And he knew that. He knew that going in. I knew that going in. And I took a little bit of a pay cut, but I could live with it. And it was, money was good. And so it wasn't that I got too powerful. It was just that he didn't like the work that I did. It's not that he didn't respect the work that I did. He thought that it was wrong it was a bad fit for the shop because it wasn't the image he wanted to portray.
I understand.
But he had to have it in there because we were paying so much of the bills.
Right.
And so at the end, I got married and I talked to my wife about it. And I said, hey, we're getting pretty close to where I need to open my own shop. And so an opportunity came up. Originally, I was supposed to go to work for someone else. And and not really. I say
you gotta love how it turned. You know, oftentimes the plan that we have, what often comes actually, you know, is way better than what we could have imagined. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't really that I was going to go to work for somebody else. Basically, somebody told me, "Hey, I have a shop. I have all of this equipment. I don't really know what I'm doing. I need someone like you. If you come in, yeah, you'll start as an employee, but
become partners or something."
Yeah, we'll become partners after a period of time. And what I ended up figuring out was this guy was it wasn't that he was a scammer. It wasn't that he was really lying to me. His idea of what he could do was different than what he could actually do. And so that
a little bit of unrealism in there.
Yeah, it was totally unrealistic. First of all, he didn't own the company. His dad owned the company. It was under the umbrella of all his dad's companies. The only reason he even had that position was because they needed somewhere to stick him. And the reason that they liked me so much is because I made it profitable. I made it work.
You knew the business.
I knew the business, and I could do all the work, and I could hire people to do all the work. And so once I realized that there was no way that I was ever going to actually do that, then I went out on my own. I had my own businesses. I was in Colorado another 10 years. About 10 and a half, 12 years. And in that time,
wow.
I owned 5 or 6 shops. I had, made a ton of money, and I really did a lot of stuff. But I worked all the time. Like I realistically, I just never took a vacation.
Workaholic.
I just did, and so I crammed 20 years worth of work into 10 years, and I was listening to Chip Foose yesterday in an interview he did. And he talked about how he built this car, and he worked 40 hours and he would sleep 8, and he would work 40 hours and then he would sleep 8.
That's unreal.
Right? And he said the last week going into this before SEMA, he actually worked 60 hours straight. He lost 27 pounds building that car, and it was just he was nonstop. And I absolutely understand that, because I did that. We built a car to go. So we built a car. Well, so I bought a car, and I bought the chassis of another car, and we went to St. Petersburg, and we ran the Pirelli World Challenge race there.
Wow.
And we came back to Denver, and immediately I started building the second car, and to go to Utah. And when we were headed to Utah for Miller Motorsports Park, I had like 2 or 3 weeks to get the car done. But but I also had a lot of projects in the staff. So really the only person that could work on the car was me. And I spent a week in the shop.
That's job security right there.
Yeah. I spent a week in the shop building the car, and I spent 3 days solid awake. And it got to the point where I was so tired I couldn't weld. Like something I literally did every day, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you get super delirious.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And my wife actually came down to the shop and made me sleep on the couch in the office for 3 hours.
Forced
you got to get 3 hours of sleep.
Otherwise, you're not going to be
I'm useless.
Not going to be around.
Yeah, and we ended up having the car ready to go for that race. And we got there, and it snowed, and there was a bunch of other things, but and so but that was the kind of things that I did. And then my wife, because my son was getting to the point where I was basically doing everything with my son, and my wife really didn't have a whole lot to do. So, she had a 9-to-5 job, but she wanted to do more. And so she went, it was a good time for her to go back to school. So she got a master's in finance from Berkeley.
Wow.
And so, she was going to school in Berkeley, living in Denver, flying out every weekend. I don't know. I have someone trying to talk to me, but I don't have that screen up. So I don't know if I'm not ignoring people. I'm just not.
Go through the mods, everybody. Go through the mods.
Yeah, go through the mods. I'm just not able to. I don't have those screens up right now. I'm sorry. So the so it ended up that we ended right about the time she was getting ready to, or she was like 6 months from graduating with an MBA from Berkeley. She needed to do all these internships and things like that. So we rented a house out there. And right about that time, I was also starting to taper down the shops in Denver. Like I sold the paint and body shop.
You were kind of getting ready to like.
I was getting ready to retire. I was like,
right.
I didn't realize I was getting ready to retire, but that's really what it was. I was really like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I want to go on vacation. I want to have a good time. I don't want to have to stress every single day about what's going on in the service shop, what's going on across town in the body shop, what's going on in the next town with the tuning shop. And so I was constantly driving around to try and figure things out. And I was in the race shop most of the time. And then I had customers that were, I had customers that really liked my work. I was a really weird shop to work with in the race shop, especially, but like the body shop, nobody even knew I owned it. Because why would I tell anybody that?
Mm-hmm.
I had people that ran it as far as they were concerned, as far as anyone knew, I didn't have anything to do with it. Same thing. I had a service shop, same deal. The tuning shop, we kind of folded into the race shop after a while. The race shop, everybody knew I owned it. But if you wanted to have me work on your car, and this is what I think most businesses should be in this type of industry, if you were really this specialized, if you called me up, I wanted to know how you got the number.
Right. Damn straight. Where did you get my number from?
Like who told you it was okay?
Yes.
Right. And then somebody say, hey, so-and-so told me that you could work on my race car, or, hey, I caught you at the racetrack and you gave me your card and said to give you a call. And once I kind of vetted you that way, then we could have a conversation. That conversation usually went like the customer would say, well, I have X car. We're going to run it in X series. And we have we're going to, and then the conversation would, go back and forth between what they wanted and expected versus what I felt like we could do and my recommendations. And then they would have to come down to my shop and meet with me. And I would have to decide that I wanted to work with you.
Yep. Premium service, dude.
That I liked you enough to work with you, and you needed to determine that you could work with me. Because if we hate each other, if you don't like the way I do business, if you don't like what I'm telling you, if you don't trust me, then there's no point in any of it.
Yep.
And so I really had this whole deal, this whole like thing down pat, and people thought it was very weird. I think it's good business. I would tell people, do not show up with your car on a trailer. And I had this happen all the time. I had people just randomly come by the shop.
You just have to turn them away. I mean, dude.
Well, I mean, the door to the shop was always locked. Like you couldn't get in.
Right.
You couldn't get in. And so I would come out and I'd be like, what's this here? Well, I want you to look at this race car. I want you to fix this car. And I'm like, well, I mean,
bro,
no.
Yeah, there's ways to do this. You got to schedule this out, dude.
And it was really an interesting dynamic because people aren't used to that. People are not used to the idea that my time is really valuable,
especially from where I'm from. Holy crap, dude! They don't care.
My time is like ridiculously valuable, and for me to take the time out of my day to come out and look at your piece of crap car is. It needs to be scheduled. I need to be expecting it. I need to know what to look for, and
it's got to be worth it.
Or I need to have somebody there to do that for me. Like, there were a lot of times I'd say, hey, go out and look at this car and tell me what you think. And one of my guys would go do it. And that hurt people's feelings too, because they felt like they're paying this money. They should get me to come out and look at it. I'm like, why would I come out and look at it?
I got employees for that.
I got, there's a reason that guy works here.
Right. He's qualified.
He's not here because he looks good.
Right.
But it was just a different way. I think that it's such a different way of doing business that it's hard for people to wrap their heads around it. It's really hard for them to understand that I'm not begging for your business. I don't care if you pay me. I don't care. You couldn't bully me into anything. Right.
Like,
I just didn't care.
Well, that's true. I believe that is where true power is, to be honest, is where I don't need you. You know,
Right.
I mean, if you want
There'll
my
be another you
service,
along in 20 minutes. Like
right.
that was
I'm worth what I'm saying
yeah.
I am,
Yeah.
you know, absolutely. You got to know your worth. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that most people have lost it. I think most people are
Mhm.
so desperate to make a deal
They are.
on anything.
Yep.
And the that they've lost all respect for themselves, and they don't deal with them. They don't deal in their own in self-respect, right? Like for me to and look, I worked on some shitty ass cars. I'm not saying that everything that rolled in was, $1 million build,
Sure.
but it was actually more about the customer and what the customer was willing to and how they were willing to work with us almost more than anything else.
Yep.
Right. Like, and and at the time we were at 110 an hour. We were the most expensive shop in Denver.
I'd imagine that would be. Yeah.
And, now of course it's like 140 or 170 or whatever, but at the time, $110 an hour for mechanic work was a lot. And I had a sliding scale. If we were fabricating stuff, if we had to do carbon fiber, whatever, it was there was a sliding scale. So your bill was according. And I charge for everything. If my guy had to sit on a phone and call Germany to figure out your piece of shit car, you paid him for that hour that he sat there. Right?
Of course. He doesn't work for free.
And it's it's just a different way it was such a different way of doing business that it just really shocked me.
But it's really transparent. That's the thing.
It was absolutely transparent.
It's very transparent. It's up front and it's in your face.
There was
but
no
you can
sign
respect
out
that.
front. There was no sign out front. There wasn't, there was not even a sign on. There were, my guys had stickered up the door. I got a really cool picture of it with all the racing stickers. They made it look like a shit shop, but there was no sticker on the door that said, here lies the badassery of Grid One Motorsports. It was just, plain. Unit 3 or whatever it was. I don't even remember what.
But see, that's how powerful business and good business goes right there. That's it just shows right there. Yeah. And of course you have to have skill. We have 3 leverages in life that I've figured out.
I think that most people need to understand what is a bad deal. So if it doesn't matter if somebody shows up with, and look, I actually had this very thing happen. So I had somebody show up with a flood car. It was a Cayman, I think. And it was a newer car. So the car off the showroom floor at that time was like 60 grand. And
is that electrical car or whatever?
No, the Cayman's it's like a Boxster with a roof.
Oh, okay.
And so guy shows up with a Cayman. It's a cool car. I think it was 60 grand off the showroom floor. New 911 was like 100 grand or 80 or 90 grand. And he shows up and it was a flood car. So I think he paid 40, maybe 20 out of the insurance auction. And he comes in, he's like, hey, I want to turn this into a race car. And I'm like, there's no way. We can't do it. He's like, why not? I said, well, first of all, literally every computer on this car is trash, and there are like 4 of them. So by the time you pay for all of those, you could have just gone and bought a new Cayman that's working and brought it in.
This is the Porsche that you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a Porsche.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now. I guess I never knew how to pronounce it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'm like, you by the time you go to Porsche and you buy all of these parts, you're going to spend way more than the car is worth. And then you're going to be pissed at me because I'm going to tell you that we can't do it. And you're going to think that we can, and we just don't want to. But that's not the truth. The truth is I'm not going to sit here and spend 3 days to, have one of my guys determine that the electronics suck. I'm going to tell you up front, the car has been flooded. More than likely, every single piece of electronics in the car is garbage.
Toast.
And we're going to throw all of that away. It's a new car. So, I'm positive that each module is at least $4 grand. So right out of the gate, you're at 20 grand plus a 20 grand you got in the car, plus all the other work. We're going to have to go through the motor. We have to go through the transmission.
Not worth
and the electric power steering and all of it. I mean,
what a nightmare.
Why would you do that? Like, go buy a new car. Now, look, if this is a street car, right? If you're doing this as a street car and you're going to do it in your backyard, and you're going to wait and find a crash Cayman somewhere and go buy a module there and buy this and buy, yeah, okay. If you're going to take a year to do it and you're just doing it in your garage at home, sure, it's worth it. 20 grand, you put another 10 into it. You got, for half price, you have a really, basically a brand new Cayman, right? But if you want me to turn this into a race car, it's impossible. And part of it was his budget. He wanted to be all in at like 100 grand.
With the car?
Yeah. So if you start with 20 grand with a car, and we're going to throw all of it away, right? Like we're going to throw the wheels away. We're going to redo the transmission. We're going to redo the engine.
You have to.
If we took all of the computers out of the car and put in like a Bosch Motorsports ABS systems, like 18 grand. The Bosch Motors. If we went with like an inexpensive ECU to run the engine, by the time you've got it calibrated and everything, that's another 10 grand plus labor on top of that. By the time it was going to end up being over $100,000 by the time we had it caged, stripped out, all the undercoating. I mean, you don't have. It's hard now to do it anyway. And I really like. Again, I like the way a lot of guys do it. Chip Foose, for example, I like to pick on him a lot because everybody knows who he is, right?
What's funny about him is my dad's friend actually works for him.
Yeah, he's in Long Beach.
Yeah, to this day. That's crazy.
he's a really good example to pick on because everybody knows who he is. So Foose, for example, would tell it if he thought the car was going to be 500 grand to build, he'd tell the customer $1.5 million. Right? Because then if it's 500 grand, the customer thinks he's a hero.
Yep.
Right?
You overshoot like that 30%. Yeah. Usually like that, if you can do shit like that, you become the winner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You look like you did it better.
So I really so what I did was just really kind of specific, right? And so that, but and then
the more niche, the more money.
Yeah. So when I started shutting down, I did one last season of racing while I was in. So we bought a house in California, in Hayward, which is NorCal, and it wasn't a bad decision. I just was traveling so much, I was never really there, so it kind of worked out. And we made money off of it, which was good, but.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
in California though.
Yeah. But you're in California. Like there were guys that would walk out of their house with a coffee cup with a pistol grip on it and have the cops called on them. My son couldn't take his BB gun outside into what passed for the front yard.
Nope.
Without getting the cops called on him. And he's like, at that time, I think he was like 5. Right.
You've got to be kidding me.
5 or 6.
That's
he's
crazy.
5 or 6. He couldn't take his little Red Ryder BB gun out.
I got one. I got a Red Ryder too. It's hilarious.
But you would get the cops called on you in California for that. And so it was one of those things, man, where like that show, and because I had, so I started being in California in like 98. And I, was there for a couple of years, and then I wasn't, and then I was back for, a few, for
indecisive a little bit.
Yeah, I was there for like another 6 months, and I was terrible. And then I was back, and then I was there for, in and out of there for another 2 years, I think 3 years, and it was terrible. And it was like every time I ended up there, it was so much worse than it was before.
Wow, it just consecutively got worse and worse. Man.
And what really annoys me are the Republicans in California.
Oh yeah.
So there was a shooting range. It was called Chabot Shooting Range. It'd been there since the late 40s. It was gifted to the state as a park by the original family who owned the property, as a shooting range first and a park second.
Wow, that's totally interesting.
So they built houses around it, and there weren't that many houses around it, but there were some. And they complained for years and years about the noise. And there was a committee that was the Chabot Park committee. And they had this vote come up to close the shooting range and tear it down because there was complaints about the lead abatement, lead possibly getting into the water supply and the noise and all of that. Now, here's the problem I had with the whole thing. Like I think there were 7 seats on that board, on the board for the park, the Chabot Park board. I think there were 7 seats. Only 2 of them were actually friendly to the shooting range. The rest were all liberal Democrat fuckwits. 3 of those ran uncontested, which means they literally just walked onto the board and they voted to shut it down. And I'm like, what the hell, man? You've known for years they're coming for your park. Every election, there should have been a line of range-friendly people to be on that board. It should never have been the case. It should never, ever have been the case that people that were anti-shooting range should have been on the board.
Set up for failure right there.
They set themselves
What's up, Mobley?
Yeah. Mobley, what's up?
Hey, guys. I'm alive. I'm alive.
You are alive,
on, are you on tonight?
I am on.
Are you on tonight?
I'm on tonight. Trying something different, longer show. We're live at 8. This was 8:30, so should be
I'll
going
be there
from 8 to 10:30 or so.
I'll try and make it, but I'm going to be out on my boat.
Oh man,
must be nice. Must be nice.
As soon as I get done here at 3, I'm backing the truck up to the boat. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Can't hide money.
See ya.
Yeah. But I mean, it was California is so ridiculous. And I had to leave so that I had a shop in California. I had a service shop out there in Hayward and it was on a major thoroughfare. In theory, it should have made a ton of money. And it actually did make a ton of money, but it was impossible to get an effective manager in. Impossible. Could not happen. And even if I did, I swear to you, every month, someone from the city, state, or county showed up with their hand out. The last straw was I was actually physically there for this, and the manager didn't do it. They would literally showed up with his hand out for a pressure vessel fee for my air compressor. I had 3 air
No
compressors,
way.
3 air compressors to run a shop, obviously, and
Bro,
each one of them I had to pay $150 pressure vessel fee.
Unreal.
And if it wasn't them, it was the fire department. If it wasn't the fire department, it was the some like compliance department. It's like every month there was somebody that showed up with their hand out.
Yep. Hey, you owe this. You need to pay this. You got to do this, dude. Bureaucracy leads to bankruptcy, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and I figured out that one of the most true statements about California is that regardless of what you think about it, it is not, it would not exist without the rich people. They don't even bother giving poor people tickets. And I kind of experimented with this. So I had a beat up RX-7 with faded paint, or RX-8 with faded paint, and was not a pretty, ran great, but it wasn't a pretty car. It looked like a poor person's car. I never got pulled over in that car. I never had any issue. I could park it anywhere. We can get a parking ticket. Nobody cared. I have a really nice RX-7. It's very, very nice.
You're getting hammered.
Literally, I couldn't
You never got pulled over?
I couldn't drive without getting pulled over.
Yep, you're getting hammered.
For like tints and stuff?
Everything.
Oh, everything. No, for sure.
Tires,
for sure.
Exhaust, noise, all of it.
I used to get pulled over all the time for shit just like that. I got an actual ticket, like actually ticketed, and I contested it, of course, but I got ticketed for 3 miles per hour over.
Because you look like you can pay the ticket. If it looks like you can't pay the ticket, they don't even bother ticketing you.
Dude, it's unreal. You're right, though. It's true.
Yeah.
Sad
if
reality.
You have a nice car there. If you have a nice car there, you are guaranteed to get a ticket.
Yep.
Every single chance they can. They'll give you loud exhaust. You could have the factory exhaust on your car, and they will give you a loud exhaust.
Then you have to go prove it later that, hey, this is factory. Yeah. And
they'll send you to the state ref, which costs you, I think it's $200.
Yep. It was like $250. I actually had to deal with it. It's unreal.
Yeah. So at some point, guys, we're going to have to gun up and go liberate California.
Yeah. We have to man them up. Stop being all with the saints over
not
there.
our problem.
You're like, man,
Grid,
just leave them. Just
Grid,
leave
hold
them.
on. You're an isolationist, and you don't realize that the People's Republic of California is a foreign country.
Yeah,
well,
I get it.
Build the wall.
We got some brothers and sisters out there, but here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. Christians, conservatives, whatever you call yourself, you're free to live in China. I know some that live in China. I know some that live in far inferior countries.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about the states. If you want to live in a super trashy state like California, one of my dearest friends lives in California. Two of my dearest friends live in California. But I don't listen to their wambulance when they're complaining about some ridiculous thing their governor's done.
That's why I left California. I was like, it's not going to get any better. Like, it's just not. It's not going to get better.
It's your responsibility as a statesman smaller than the United States, but as a citizen of the state you live in. I'm a proud Virginian, and the problems that Virginia has are my problems. And I came back here intentionally, and I moved to Loudoun County, which sucks, intentionally, to fight for my state. Nice. California's problems are their problems.
That's righteous. That's righteous, for sure.
There are some good people in Virginia. Some really nice people. One of my company's hubs is in Virginia, and it's like once you go south of I want to say like Richmond, it feels like a different state, you know?
It is.
Yep.
It is. It's two separate states essentially.
Yeah. 100%. Like the northern part, I mean, it's a lot of yuppies and stuff like that, but Virginia, it does feel.
I'm proud to say that Northern Virginia, Loudoun County, and specifically, we set the world on fire with the parents' rights stuff, with CRT in the schools and all that back in 2020. I moved back here in October 2020, and from October 2020 to October 2021, I had done like 200 mainstream media hits. I was traveling all over the region. Wow. Speaking and yelling at school boards. I mean, it was wild. And that was a grassroots Loudoun County initiative. And now I honestly, this is a little bit weird, but almost like the rise of libs of TikTok was centered around the stuff that we were exposing here. And good for her. She's an incredible journalist. Her account is excellent, not taking any credit from her, but just like this great nation was, everyone talks about Pennsylvania, everyone talks about Massachusetts. Virginians built this country. They really did. I love Virginia to death, and I'm technically from New York. It's a closely guarded secret. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, they're gonna pry Virginia from my cold dead hands. If I had it my way, we would take West Virginia back. We would take Kentucky back, which used to be westernmost county.
I have a theory that he's gonna win Virginia because for people who don't watch it closely enough, they got a red governor. This is the first election he'll be around, and they just changed it to paper ballot. So I was always typing in, like, if you're in Virginia and go vote, because they have early voting, and I'm hoping that there's a huge upset in Virginia, because if that happens,
it wouldn't be a huge upset because and I hate the political hacks and the analysts, but they are right about one correlative relationship. if you look at Virginia politics, particularly the governor election, and then if you look at how the state swings relative to the presidential, Virginia very often goes against second term White House administrations. So, Bush is in, Virginia swings blue. Clinton's in, Virginia swings red. Obama's in, and second term. So these one-term presidencies are kind of throwing analysis off, but they were so tremendously good or bad. Trump's first term was so tremendously good. Biden's was so tremendously bad. It really is an indicator. Virginia, love it or hate it, maybe it's because of our proximity to DC, but Virginia is almost always fed up with who's in the White House. Doesn't matter what their party is, and they vote the other way.
What do you think about what I was saying earlier about Kamala's position with Lena Khan?
The FTC?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like regulatory bodies like the FTC. There was something you said. I had a note document because you said something about her, but I accidentally deleted it.
Well, I basically said that even though I don't particularly care for her because she's a progressive, she has at least been good faith about trying to regulate Amazon or not trying to regulate. I guess she hasn't actually tried to regulate Amazon, but speaking about how companies like Amazon and some of the others that are more platform-based companies do not break existing antitrust laws, and therefore they can't be messed with. I think Cuban wants Khan gone so he can put somebody in there to break up Amazon so Cuban can then pick up pieces. That's my theory.
Yeah, this is exactly what you're talking about that I took a note on. I remember what the note was. I agreed. You said something about I can't remember the players. You said something about it essentially already being owned by a specific group of billionaires. It's just which billionaires. I don't remember the exact note, but it was something.
It's Cuban, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and the other guy.
Remember, this guy Cuban. I mean, that's what he does is invest. That's what he does. You know what I mean? So I mean. Yeah. He's investing in his politician essentially because he knows he can end up winning on the back end.
Well, I mean, he's betting that he can buy Kamala cheaper than he can buy Trump.
Yep.
Well, it would be.
And see, he tried to buy Trump last time. He backed Trump last time.
I didn't know that.
And once, he backed Trump in the last election. But once the election was over, Trump gave him a hearty handshake and a thank you and a pat on the back and went on about his way, which is what you should do with donors, right?
Yep.
Cuban, I think, expected to get his dick sucked. Okay. Like I think Cuban actually
keeping it real.
I'm just saying, I think Cuban really expected Trump to deregulate, because I think Cuban needs more volatility in the market, and Trump effectively placated the waters, and there was some volatility. Money was there to be made, but Cuban had very specific goals, and I don't think Trump delivered on what Cuban thought that Trump should deliver on. And I don't think Trump ever took a meeting with Cuban after that. If he buys Kamala, which is probably cheaper than buying Trump, I'm pretty sure that he feels like that he can then dictate, because she absolutely has been proven to take dictation very well. He can then dictate exactly what he wants done, and she'll do it because she's so politically indebted. Just like Obama and Biden were so politically indebted when Biden got into office, he basically had to do what they said. Right.
I think it's an ego thing because, if he looks at him and just, says thank you and just walks away, while the Democrats seem to get on their knees and they do all this like cowtailing to people all the time. And because they're like you said, they're expecting something on the back end.
Well, let's be honest. There's a reason she's called Heels Up Harris. Let's just be honest.
Sheesh.
Wow.
My 2 cents. Also, last night I was completely sober as a judge. Those comments were not brought to you
capping.
by bourbon
We
and
know you're
coffee.
capping.
Because
those comments. Yeah, I'm a very funny guy. I do stand up. You can watch my Bethesda stand up. I think I posted it on YouTube if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I digress.
Okay. You do digress.
My thoughts about Lena is I don't care if she, like mainstream media right now, is seeming to go against the party line. The proof is in the pudding, and that proof is this. And Donald Trump is the only politician that I can name alive who's done this. Oh, wait. Yeah. He's the only one. Does Lena seek to, is her last name Khan?
Khan.
Yeah. Does Ms. Khan seek to reduce the power, the authority, and scope of the FTC? No. The only politicians that are worth anything are ones who recognize that the regulatory, the administrative burden is too great, whether we're talking federal, state, in some instances local. It's too great, and they need to narrow the scope of those things. They need to set the economy back on fire, and the way that you do that is by, we don't have to go full Ayn Rand, okay? Even though that would be fine if we did. But to deregulate, to let creatives create, to let risk takers take risk and suffer the consequences when they get it wrong and enjoy the spoils when they get it right.
Capitalism, man.
Yeah, I don't care what she's saying, because she's
really
lip service unless, yeah, and that's fine. But I see it as and I was just looking just to make sure about her strategic agenda, because barons and what are they called? Oh, geez, they write the financial analysis. They're like left wing, not Bloomberg. No, the other one. They're saying that she's seemingly going against her own interest, and she's not. The other shoe that's going to drop with this is some new sweeping authority for some. This was just like the debate that I had the other night with someone. Like, hey, you would need to set up a new agency to regulate this kind of thing. So she's saying she wants to do a good thing for the people, but in her behavior, she is only ever seeking to increase her individual power or the power of the agency that she's stewarding over. So the other shoe is,
I haven't gone down that rabbit hole deep enough. What I've seen is she is an economist first, and she seems to be very like progressive leaning, but more like, I don't know. She's never had a real job. What worries me about Khan, though, is she's never had a real job. She's always either been in school or in some kind of internship program, or she's worked for the government.
Yeah, usually that's a lifer ordeal.
And usually that's a problem.
Yeah,
the only reason that I kind of like Zahn right now is I do believe that I do not disagree in breaking up the Amazon and all of that. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that there's probably an argument that you could make that would make me agree with that. But I don't know that she really is. I see, the problem is, it's not that I agree or disagree with her policies. I just think that it's hilarious that AOC is saying, if you go after Lena Zahn, you've got to fight Kamala, and Kamala's over here. She can't say shit because Cuban wants her to go after Zahn. He wants Zahn so bad he can taste it.
Conflict.
Grid, you know the answer. You know the answer, Grid. She is a pure economist, but is she a Keynesian disciple or Friedman disciple?
I don't know. It didn't say. So
she's a Keynesian economics queen, which is government control power, which is leaning into totalitarianism. They don't have what they want, but I don't care what her public statements are. I don't care what she's saying to what news outlet. When you look at this woman's actions and realize this is why she was selected for the position, is because she's moving the ball down the field of government control. And she could say whatever she wants to say. I don't give a crap. What documents are you signing? What things are you supporting?
Look at the actions
on the Hill.
Yep.
And she's Keynesian all day. She probably doesn't even know who Milton Friedman is. She may have an academic understanding of who Milton Friedman is. She couldn't.
Well, she kind of has
argue
to graduate.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Have you seen Charlie Kirk talking to those students? They don't know who Thomas Sowell is, Milton Friedman.
Yeah,
they can't articulate any other economic theories except for the one. It's wild. Sorry, go ahead, Mr.
You see this growing number of Democrat candidates that want to claim to be, moderate or whatever, and we all know it's complete BS. I mean, you look, like it's ridiculous. And once they get in or they get to that position of power, they all vote the same way. And what happens when they don't? They just, when they actually.
That's the interesting thing about left is that so if you have two conservatives that disagree on policy, they'll each vote the way that they disagree, and they may not back you. All right, let's say that you and I agree on gun control, but we disagree on rent control, whatever, and you would not vote with me on gun control, and I would not vote with you on rent control, just out of principle. A Democrat does not care. They will vote for people that they absolutely disagree with their position on, because it furthers the rhetoric, it furthers the narrative, it furthers the goal as a whole, which is fascinating to me, because literally you could have somebody that's completely anti-abortion but pro-union, and they will vote anti-abortion.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Or pro-abortion. They will vote pro-abortion.
It's very weird how they'll choose,
because it's all because it's just so strange. And I get what I agree actually with what Joe's saying. I just think it's funny that AOC is having a meltdown over the idea that Lena Khan would be replaced by Kamala if she gets in, based on Mark Cuban.
I think it's disingenuous. That's my point. I think it's disingenuous to make Kamala look like she's, more center leaning, when we all know it's complete crap. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Listen to some of the stuff that. Yeah,
I think AOC wants to highlight the fact that the billionaires that Kamala supposedly fights against are the ones that are propping her ass up. And I think that if she was trying to, trying to change that rhetoric or change the narrative, she would not point out the billionaires part of it. So, but yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick, and then I'll just drop down because you got four up.
Yeah, man. Whatever you want, man.
What do you got?
I'm easy.
What do you guys think about this story? For some of the people in the chat, if you're looking for a job, Elon's going to pay people $30 an hour to work for his swing state PAC.
I saw that. Yeah, that's really, hey man, a job. $30 an hour is $30 an hour.
Yeah, so if you guys in the chat are watching, if you need a job right now and you're in a swing state, just look at Elon's, type in Google or whatever, look at his PAC, go apply, and get yourself in there and start working. So
wow, very cool.
But
I think he's just having fun with this election. He thinks it's so hilarious that he's trying to see how ridiculous he can make the DNC behave. He's just poking them to see just how ridiculous they will respond.
The
think
memes
it's
have been
funny,
too
too.
good too. Oh man, they've been so good.
So Joe, what did you think about some of the other observations I made today?
Well, that was over an hour for me, so I don't remember. I was enjoying the show before I had to take those calls.
What about the argument with Smokey Guru about Russia versus Ukraine versus our helping Israel?
I didn't hear that. I actually only heard the monologue. So once you brought people on, I was out.
Yeah, you missed out big time. You got to go back and watch it. It was great.
I probably will, because I got to cut the grass today. So I listened to maybe 3 shows and grids them there.
It was really interesting. We have the whole thing was more or less about that Ukraine. Well, basically, I actually don't remember what the guy's actual point was, other than that we should be helping Ukraine, and we should not be
Russia bad.
Yeah, helping other people and all that. I don't know.
Well,
it was pretty funny. He wouldn't come up though.
I didn't hear that, but I just put I have a running notebook. I don't know if I showed you this, content ideas and topics to cover. And you were right the other day. I talked to Samantha about that. We're gonna, because I used to say 3 to 5 topics. We're gonna cap it at 3 because I bloviate too much to hit more than 3 in an hour. Right. I mean, 3 is honestly.
We tried to call you back the other day after my call. I felt bad that I had to jump off. But
yeah, I was teaching my son how to change the oil.
Perfect.
So.
Nice.
Good, solid work.
Yeah, he did a great job. He's 10. He's super smart. I have as a show topic and a question. I tweeted it out the other day. Should we, or even why should we as Americans hate Russia, or is that the American being raised in America? Is that the American propaganda at work? Because propaganda should be happening. Indoctrination should be happening. You're going to be indoctrinated, period. That's how a worldview is established. I'm indoctrinating my children with the gospel of Jesus Christ, with conservative political ideology. But I'm also indoctrinating them with logic and reason, so they can check me and say, hey, my 2 oldest, they know these are the 3 laws of logic. If I or anyone violates this, ask us. And you can frame it in this way. Hey, you said that A was A, but now you're saying B. Like, which is it?
Right.
If it's an absolute kind of thing.
So I think that we're completely indoctrinated to hate and or fear Russia. I think that if we were ever to say, hey, you know what, there's nothing wrong with Russia, bygones are bygones, the whole Cold War thing was, probably necessary, but a little bit fucked up too. Yeah, Stalin was a piece of crap. Lenin was a bigger piece of crap. Marx, fuck that guy. If you just were to say that and just walk away, I think that most people couldn't do it because they have so much emotional baggage tied up in hating Russia.
I agree completely. I agree. And think about the double thing. Like, as a leftist, you have to think that Russia's bad, but you have to think that the crowning jewels that came out of the Soviet Union are good, namely socialism. You think some of Marx's work is good. It's like, what kind of double thing? I think the proof in the pudding there is, just like I asked people, tell me something of significance that you've changed your mind on. And if they have nothing, then they're a shill.
No,
right wing or left
wing. No, they have to be open-minded.
I 100%. So I was never all in on the Ukraine war, but I was for Ukraine to start with.
Originally, yeah.
I wasn't like, I stand with Ukraine, but I was like, yeah, Ukraine's probably right in this.
The question is, can you say one good thing about Russia? Like, I'm staunchly American. I can say good things about the crown before the establishment of America. Hot women
and diamonds.
Yeah. The Russians defeated the Nazis.
Vodka. I got you. Yeah. Vodka is what they're good for.
But the shills can't say that. There's no good thing about Russia and its entire history, and it must be that way.
Yeah.
That's how you know the indoctrination is too strong.
Well, what I was going to get at is I'm not going to make excuses for what Russia does at all. You know what I mean? They're not always in the right. But here's the deal: is just like anything that we've watched this happen right in front of us. They're just going to go ahead and amplify certain things and make it seem worse. And that's what, you know, when we have a whole bunch of propaganda, I mean, it really does work. Propaganda really, really actually works. People don't think it, but like, oh, I couldn't be duped. No, you absolutely can.
History is positional. The UK has committed genocide on several continents, and they get a pass. Right? Indochina. Do you guys know where Indochina is? You can find it on the map. If you go start in Indochina and go down to the tip of India, there are entire cultures that were wiped out by the English.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure of it, but I just didn't know it. Yeah.
It was an empire. It's what they did.
Well, what's going on in Cambodia right now? I just Googled that, but so it looks like Cambodia is part of
Cambodia. Pops up.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, and they get a pass. They did the same thing in South Africa. They did the same thing in Australia.
They're not top dogs. And that's the problem.
And that's the point. Tim Pool talks about this all the time, but he's missing a logical thread. And I just want to be like, Tim, here it is. Because he asked people, why this conflict? Why are you so emotionally stirred about these conflicts? Russia, Ukraine, and Palestine, Israel. It's because the United States has told you with propaganda and indoctrination, they've told you these are things that are important. There are struggles and wars and atrocities going on all over the world. There's a genocide going on in Cambodia.
Right.
No American knows about it or gives two craps.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And so when we give passes on that, who cares? It's fine.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
but
listen, when you're top dog,
why do you care about this?
Right. And when I say I don't care, people are like, why don't you care? They're fighting our enemy. No, they're not fighting my enemy. They're fighting their enemy, which happens to be my enemy. And I'm okay with that. But here's the thing. Ukraine, for example, goaded Russia into the war. It's literally like walking over to the biggest, dumbest, angriest dude in your cell block and punching him in the nuts and going, now what? And when he whoops your ass,
then
crying about it and expecting all of the other people on your cell block to help you. That's exactly what this is, right? We're all locked in here together. We can't get out. And
can't get mad if you antagonize the situation.
I just think so. I was never like 100%. Hey, man, we need to be all in on this anti-Russia thing, right? I was never all in on it, but I was like, yeah, Russia tends to be kind of shady, and then I started researching it, and this is what I found. So first of all, Putin, look, he is a bad guy. He will kill you.
Absolutely.
And he will not even bat an eyelash. He is a bad guy. He was a spy. He was KGB. He probably still is KGB or whatever they call it now. He is a bad guy. However, he's a good leader of his country. He has his national interest at heart. He has done the hard work to try and revitalize Russia. He went after the oligarchs. Nobody else has done that. Like literally, he didn't have to. They all came to him and said, "Hey, man, we'll make you rich as fuck. All you got to do is just let us do our business, man." Now, I promise you, if you went to Kamala Harris with that, she'd be like, "Hell yeah, man! Here's my bank account numbers." But not Putin. Putin's like, "No, you're bad for Russia," and the ones he didn't kill are somewhere on the other side of Siberia, right? I don't disagree with that. I kind of want to, but
I understand what you're getting at
with it, right?
Yeah, I get what you're getting at. 100%.
They're fucking criminals. And now, now I'm if I have an accident, I did not kill myself.
I just dropped the agency names in there.
Oh shit. Yeah. But I mean,
Cam is right though. Putin actually gives a crap about Russians. Putin
that's
is
one thing I can really
nationalist.
respect. He really is about his people for real, like that.
He got rid of all the criminals. He literally went not door to door, but he went from Russian club to Russian. That's why they're all in Miami. Because they can't live in Russia. They can't live in Russia.
With our open border, crime rates are plummeting all over the world because governments have said to the worst criminals and the most mentally ill people they have, we're sending you to this place in Mexico. You're going to cross the border. You're going to live in America. Well, if you come back, we'll kill you.
The choice is you can stay and die, or you can flee and maybe you won't die as fast.
But they're sending them here on planes, trains, and automobiles, boats, everything. It's freaking crazy, dude.
Every way you can.
Yeah. But I mean, again, and I hate, and you guys have no idea how sick it is for me to say that Putin actually is doing good stuff for his country. Like, that's fucked up. But unfortunately, it's the truth. And we can't, just because we don't like the truth, just because it's inconvenient, doesn't make it not the truth.
Right. But people see how people react when people say something like that, for instance, and then people lose their mind. And I'm glad that you do say shit like that because it is the truth.
Yeah. And so on the other side of the coin, and look, how did we get in this spot, right? Russia invaded Crimea because the Crimeans basically tried to seize the only deep water port that Russia has access to that's four season, right? That they can use year round. And it's very important to Russia. The Crimeans, basically said, we're going to deny you this. You can't do it. And Putin said, fuck you. We're going to do it. And that war lasted like under 30 days. Right. And the Crimeans said, okay, we're good. You can use the port again. Right. Well, then Ukraine, who actually, I guess in theory owns the port. I'm not really sure how this all works out because I've heard, look, Ukraine claims it is their ancestral pre-Russia, pre-USSR entitled land. Russia says, no, it's not. It's ours. But we don't want to fight you over it. Trump comes in and says, look, guys, you both want the piece of chicken. You're going to have to split. We're going to have to work out a deal here. Russia says, we will not invade you as long as you do not block access or heavily tax us to use the port. We don't, and we're not even going to say that it's ours anymore. We're going to let you guys, you're wrong, but we'll let you believe that it's your port. Ukraine, and this was Zelensky said, okay, yeah, well, that's good with me. As soon as Trump left the White House, what did Zelensky do? Locked down the port. He imposed a massive tariff on goods going into and out of Russia through that port. And Putin said clearly, if you do this, we are going to war. And unlike most world leaders, if Putin says, if you do this, that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Like, that fucker ain't fucking around. You're not dealing with the guy down in Cuba, right? You're not dealing with the dude in Germany. You're not dealing with it. You're not dealing with Xi Jinping. You're dealing with fucking Vladimir Putin, who has zero fucks to give, and honestly believes he can whoop your ass, right? And he's doing it for his national country.
Yep, he only cares about Russia.
He only cares about Russia. He doesn't give a shit about US. He doesn't give a shit about China. He doesn't give a shit about any of that shit. All he cares about is Russia. Best deal for Russia.
It's like a club and you ain't in it, homie. Yep.
Right. And so Zelensky played Russian roulette, and he got the bullet. That's what happened. And now this is where we're at. And unfortunately,
what can you expect?
And even though the Ukrainians did not comply with the NATO treaty that everyone brings up, that Ukraine expects the U.S. to help them during this war, which is, by the way, why we don't have troops there. Everyone says, or a lot of people will say, talking out of their ass, that during the nuclear disarmament treaty back in 82 or 83 or whatever the fuck it was, that we guaranteed to protect Ukraine if they got rid of their nukes against Russia and any other aggressors. Well, that's true. However, Ukraine broke the treaty. They didn't get rid of all their nukes. They got rid of half of their nukes, and half of them went to fucking Russia. So no, you don't. You don't get to say I do half, but you still have to honor your side of the deal.
No,
right?
It doesn't work that way.
Well, you can do that with the U.S. because the U.S. is just like everybody's big brother, and you're like, can I have $5? Yeah, here you go. Can I have another $5? Yeah, here you go.
Totally.
That's who we are. It's what happens. And we have no obligation to help Ukraine at all. They did not honor the treaty. If you don't honor the treaty, I don't give a fuck. And we should, which is, by the way, why there are not U.S. troops in Ukraine right now, because if we sent troops there, if Ukraine said, hey, you have to honor this treaty, that treaty would end up in world court, I promise you, and Ukraine would be exposed for being the lying bitches that they are.
Yep. But I have that.
And again, Zelensky has nothing to do with this anyway.
He's not even there. You know what I mean? He's here.
Yeah. And I personally believe that at some point, Zelensky is going to end up in front of the world court. And I honestly think that Burisma Biden needs to be there next to him. Like standing.
It's not going to happen.
I understand, but he's just as guilty. He's just as guilty for all this. The fact that Zelensky now owns a mansion in Miami. I think he owns a penthouse in New York. He is set to flee the Ukraine in exile, and he's going to have his he's going to rule in exile, guaranteed. I give it 6 months, unless Trump gets in, and then it'll be something like it'll be some other stuff. Yeah, we did have actually one of my friends went there as a contractor in the Ukraine, and he quit. He came back. They couldn't pay him enough because what they were doing was wrong. He said that they're wrong. The Ukrainians are wrong. And he was not going to be part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Can't support it if you don't truly believe it. I mean, why would you be there?
Yeah. Yeah. So
crazy.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm probably now on. If there was a watch list I wasn't on, I am now on it.
Guaranteed. And I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm lumped in.
Same.
We're all lumped into this. We're doing this together, boys.
I'm pretty sure I was on all the watch lists previously, but if not, I'm now on all of them.
Just in case you missed something. Yeah,
for the
we're
NSA
covered now.
Tracking me. I'll be out on the boat on the lake later. If you can help me out by showing me where the fish are, that would really appreciate that. And because I know you NSA guys are watching me now. It's okay. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of reasons I'm on all the radars. But
oh yeah.
So
same.
So Joe, do you have any comments on my rant there? I'm sorry, I kind of went sideways there.
Well, I agree with. I'm trying to figure out how to fix this warning on my Synology drive. Anyway, I agree with everything that you said. Obviously, I would like to see these criminals that operate with impunity. I don't know if I'd like to see them march before the international court, because I don't like the international court, and I think as an American we should laugh in their faces anytime that they. I'm just thinking of the rest of the stupider, weaker nations saying to the Roman Empire in their height that they demand that some Caesar come, and actually they had kings initially come before them and answer, I would just laugh in their faces. The same way that I'll laugh if the UK unarmed and not American citizen comes here and knocks on my door to say, hey, we're taking you to jail for some tweet that you posted. I'd laugh in their face. I think that YouTube, this is not a call for violence. This is just
right. Disclaimer.
We're entertaining on the internet here. Yeah. I think that, I know how to say it. I think Zelensky is going to get the, oh shoot, what is Anastasia's dad's name? I think they're going to get the Russian Tsar treatment. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Just right to the back of the head. I think that's what's going to happen to Zelensky. Or the nicer version is he will disappear and be said to be off on some island with all of the millions that he, the billions that he stole from the Americans.
AI videos posted every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. And you know, the real funny thing is the Russians aren't going to be responsible for that. That's a lot closer to home is going to make that happen.
100%. Well, I mean, we installed the dictator. Typically, when we install them, we change them.
Yeah, it's really interesting. American public, you guys are so sweet and innocent. And I've said this before because it's it's public information. Naive. Just like when you walk around if you work in a corporate job, just like when you walk around in your office, there are little things, little areas that say, oh, hey, this is inside sales. And then there are things on people's doors and desks that kind of say what they do. When I first got indoctrinated into the intelligence community, I would walk around the buildings and I would just read the labels on the doors, and they cracked me up because it was some of the most off the wall stuff. Like, oh, this office is how to topple government, small, medium, and large, or whatever. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, is this what you do for a living? And the guys and gals, they were like, yeah.
It's just made up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these titles, they're just made up for their friends.
Yeah. I mean, but some of the stuff that our government does, and I'm sure that Foreign Intelligence Service does the same.
Oh, yeah.
It's some off the wall stuff, guys. So yeah, no, Zelensky's going to disappear. He is not going to be Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous for the rest of his hopefully long and prosperous life. Nothing will happen to Putin. He's not going to lose control and power over in Russia. Russia is going to remain one of the top players on the international stage. They have the same issues that we have, and so does China, frankly, thinking about energy crises as it relates to emerging technologies. Like, no one really has the infrastructure to exploit AI. All that say, nothing's going to change, Grid. I agreed with what you said. I would like to see those things happen, with the asterisk that I don't respect bodies like the international.
Well, I don't, and I use World Court as a kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. It would not be the World Court. It would be like some tribunals in Switzerland somewhere in a deep dark hole, and something like that, or Guantanamo. We still do work out of there. So
Cam the King, 3-letter agency, should be disbanded. You're absolutely right. And I will fight all of you guys' programming. Nothing will happen. There won't be chaos. There won't be pandemonium. If we get rid of income tax, if we get rid of these agencies, the left always says things will crumble. No, they really won't.
Yep. Guys, it is we got 12 minutes left. Let's get some final comments, thoughts, words, expressions, all that kind of thing out of our great closing guest, and then we'll call it a day. Gentlemen.
Yeah, Grid, I've got to just agree with you on there. I mean, I was waiting to be able to debate something on there, but I really can't. There was nothing for me to really debate there. Yeah, I've got to agree with you on all of that. But I always thank you for having me on, your show and everybody here. Appreciate everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate you, Joe, as well. And, it's always exciting to hang out with you guys. It's a good time. Appreciate it. Always.
Likewise, everything that Mike Ball said. I will say, just a teaser for tonight's show, and doing my first call-in this evening, so that'll be interesting for the last hour.
Yeah,
but
I'll try and get back in.
The power that it seems governments, local, state, and federal have is illusory, and the illusion is starting to crumble, and people are starting to say it. Noteworthily, people from my neck of the woods are starting to say it. Big public figures and former special operations folks like Chad Wright. Chad Wright said that him and 1,000 well-trained dudes could topple the U.S. government. He knocked it down to just 300 if they were all SEALs. Which I thought was just biblical, just Chad keeping it biblical. Nick Freitas out of Virginia, who's a former United States Green Beret, Army Special Forces. He said the same thing. This power is illusory. He will not run for federal office. He is only a Commonwealth of Virginia only politician because he believes that that's the only place that power should be. Anyway, as these systems start to crumble, the federal government and the big agencies and the big stakeholders there, their back is being pushed into a wall. So things are going to get real nasty. So you can either bitch up and be really afraid of that, or you can realize, hey, what these guys are saying is true. They're insiders. They've seen in the deepest, darkest government holes. I've been there. And I'm coming to you telling you that the government is not all powerful. The government and all governments are the Wizard of Oz, the great and powerful Oz. It's a small little scared man with some fancy lights and cameras and sound effects. So cowboy up, guys and gals.
Well, those are hard to follow. Guys, thanks for coming on the show. Mikey Balls has his own podcast. I think we linked it earlier. If we haven't, we'll get that link out there. Guys, go see his show. Obviously, Mikey is he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders. He's a young guy, and he's figuring this stuff out.
That's right. I appreciate it.
And obviously, Joe Mobley. The Joe Mobley show. You guys need to go watch his stuff. It's really good and shockingly funny. And I think that everybody will enjoy it. And he needs to up his audience quite a bit. And you guys can help him do that. Plus, you need to tell your friends and family about it. So that's the Joe Mobley show. It's great. I think that the thing that we need to realize, and what everybody has kind of said, the reason we don't disagree is that we are starting to see the smoke part. We see through the mirrors, and we're seeing things as they actually are because of shows like this one.
Yes, we have independent media. Yes,
yeah. We see guys like Smokey Guru, who has literally swallowed the line of rhetoric over and over and over again. It's not his fault. He just doesn't know any better. And he started out saying that he was all for Ukraine and Russia's the enemy. And now he said, you shouldn't trust Ukraine. He just posted, you shouldn't trust Ukraine, but you should trust Russia less. I actually would reverse that, because Russia is very predictable, because Putin is very predictable. But hey, man, at least we made some progress. And keep watching the show. And I'm not trying to win anybody to any side. I really don't have an agenda, other than I think it's really, really important for us to at least talk about things as truthfully as we can.
Facts.
We don't have the data all the time to say the truth. But when I tell you that it's so interesting to me to see AOC going after Kamala over something, and I try and give you the reason why, right? Like it's because, AOC obviously wants this woman to stay in power because she's antitrust, and she believes in everything that AOC's in charge of. Whereas Kamala is being pushed by her billionaire supporters to put somebody else in. I don't know that either choice is great, but I think the fact that they're fighting is awesome. And I hope that Trump gets in and does the right thing, which is probably to get rid of Zahn and put in somebody else that will actually do a good job in the FTC, or even better, executive order the FTC out of commission, and we can just have free trade again. Guys, with that said, I'm going to end the stream. You're going to go over to Jess's birthday stream. I know it's kind of lame, but just go hang out for a little while, make her feel good, and then you can go do other cool stuff. Or you can, and to support Jess on her birthday, that's worthwhile as well. And really enjoyed having everybody. Next show will be tomorrow night, 8:05 Central Standard Time. Tomorrow night, we're going to do some relationship stuff. We're going to be talking about. We're actually going to bring a little bit of the politics of relationships and how that works, and also we're going to talk about this idea that men should, women shouldn't work, and and the dynamics of power between men and women when women do have actual gainful employment. At any rate, guys, it's been a great show. Really enjoyed it. Please go to our guest shows and get off my lawn. And by the way, wear glasses if you need them.
Yeah, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles. I mean, you can. I told me that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God and the church. He said he's a husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are the apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?